Hello again. We're on our fourth point from John Flavel's book to Christians concerning us guarding or keeping our heart in times of difficulty. We're shut in. The Lord has taken away many things from everyone, including Christians, and we want to be able to keep our minds and our thinking and our belief in the Lord correct, even in times of difficulty. So the fourth help for that today from John Flavel on page 51 is this. Let us, before I start reading, the section is about this. God restrains sin by scarcity. Let me read. What if by the loss of outward comforts God preserves your soul from the ruining power of temptation? Surely then, you and I would have little cause to sink our heart by such sad thoughts. In other words, moping about the things that we no longer have or can get at the moment. Do not earthly enjoyments make men shrink and warp in times of trial? For the love of these things, many have forsaken Christ at such an hour of temptation. The rich young ruler went away sorrowful. Why? Because he had much or great possessions. If this is God's plan, how ungrateful would it be for us to murmur against him for it? After this, brethren, we'll have a greater appreciation for things, for stuff in our lives. Maybe at this time you and I may come to see perhaps we were being selfish as we were going on as normal, or proud, and maybe through the lack of luxuries it teaches us to be more kind and sharing and be willing to help the needy. Let me read on. We see that sailors in a storm can throw overboard the most valuable of their goods to preserve their own lives. See that in the book of Jonah, don't we? We know that it is normal for soldiers in a city that is under siege to destroy all the buildings outside the walls, no matter how fine those buildings were, so that the enemy cannot take shelter in those buildings outside the wall. John Flavel says, no doubt this is wisely done, it is wisdom. There are those who have been willing to have their arms or legs, their limbs cut off. So willingly, they stretch out their arm or their leg willingly to the surgeon and even thank the surgeon to have their arm or their leg cut off because it is infected, to save their own lives. For their good, in other words. Must God, therefore, be murmured against for casting overboard that which would sink you in the storm, or for pulling down that which would assist your enemy in the siege of your temptation, for cutting off that which would endanger you, and endanger, he says, your everlasting life as a Christian. Oh, if we have an attitude against God and blame him for any difficulties in life, John Flavel says, oh, inconsiderate, ungrateful man or woman, are not these things for which you grieve the very things that have ruined thousands of souls? So brethren, the lesson is sometimes God afflicts, yes, and sometimes God restrains us. By afflicting us, he restrains us from things that would tempt us to sin and deny him. He afflicts and restrains his people for a number of reasons. For protection. Protection against temptation. For to teach us, secondly, lessons we must learn. Maybe at this time we've learned a lesson that we didn't know before of how big a place in our life things had And now that they're taken away, now we know how big a place they had. Maybe we see at this time how much previously we had become materialistic, proud, and loving ourselves. We were selfish and proud. And now perhaps we've learned, well, it's better to share what we have with others and be kind. And one thing for sure, at the end of all this, we'll all have a greater appreciation for basic necessities rather than just a covetousness for luxuries. And we will see that luxuries are not necessary. The Lord will have taught us that luxuries are not necessities. Through this, necessities are the only things that are necessary, basic things. What profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? So let's not grumble. At this time, maybe God is keeping us safe and restraining us in case we be tempted and we fall. Thank you for your attention today. We'll continue later on. Thank you.